Welcome back to Authentic with Brazil 201. I'm your host, Brazil 201, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about the Pit Hour 3. We are now 3 hours into our 15-hour ER shift with our boy, Dr. Robbie and the gang. And I gotta say, for 3 episodes in, there's no sophomore slump here for this show. The Pit is a delight, and I am so fucking glad we get this for 12 more weeks. Because the way you can just get all the emotions from disgust to sadness to joy all in one ER shift, because it's just amazing. Because remember, we've only known these characters now for 10 months in terms of the timeline of the show, right? We've seen how Robbie has trained these doctors for 10 months and how they're all much more better and confident on their job compared to season 1, where Robbie had to hold their hands basically the entire way. So, we're gonna go through all the patients and the cases so far in hour 3. First, we have a Jewish Ukrainian mother who comes into the ER who has massive burns from dropping a giant Russian tea kettle thing. She doesn't want to talk to the nurse. She's like, I only want to talk to the doctor. Robbie comes into the room and says, I'm Dr. Robbie Marmakovich. And he goes, Oh, Jewish? He goes, Yes. And he goes, What church do you go to? And he says, The other one. And she's like, I used to go to the Tree of Life. And they go this whole beautiful 2 minute monologue of how after the shooting, she said she was there on October 27th, 2023, I believe is when the shooting was. Um, and she says after all the shooting and all the people died, she went in to pray for everybody, but because she lived across the street from it, she gets PTSD whenever she hears fireworks. So 4th of July, New Year's Eve, anytime the Pirates win or the Steelers win, she goes like and she just, it's paranoid. She has like this whole real trauma. And Robbie's like, I understand about this. And she's like, I don't want to lose my faith. Then she yells at Robbie for being in his 50s driving a motorcycle. He's like, "That's very sad man," and she just really likes it. Then we go to the homeless guy who had all the maggots in his arm, who smelled like shit. Um, he's been giving a lot of IV and a shower. He seems to be recovering. Then we have, a motorcycle victim, which I guess is gonna be foreshadowing for something that's happening. We have a motorcycle victim that went flying, like, into the pavement. He comes in, he's responsive, like, heart EKG wise. Then Robbie touches his head and the skin instantly falls off, and we see his brain. Most graphic, disgusting thing we see in this fucking episode. Disgusting. He's brain dead. Robbie moves on because apparently this guy was driving a motorcycle without the helmet when flying, which means if I were to guess, because foreshadowing is something that is very obvious, and we saw at the first episode, Robbie is zigzagging through the city on a motorcycle without a helmet. If I were to guess, when Robbie finally leaves his shift, in 13 hours, he's going to I can't remember if it rained really bad 4th of July. He's gonna clearly go flying off in the motorcycle and have, like, brain damage, and we're gonna have a time jump, and I guess maybe, physical therapy and whatever. It's kinda obvious that that's what it's setting up, just so we're clear, and I really hope we don't do that because then it's gonna be interesting. I don't want that to happen, but, like, I trust Noah Wiley is very Taylor Sheridan in that he controls this entire show, and he writes every episode, so I think that's great. Next up, we have an Asian girl and an Asian guy who collapsed. We think he was paralyzed, but he's not. Apparently, he just suffers from a low potassium genetic disorder, and then the mother that's right, they crashed into the motorcycle guy. Um the Asian wife is, like, kind of annoying. She collapses because we didn't see that she had, internal bleeding from the seatbelt and all that. We meet a race car family. They play a game called Pooling Meds, and apparently the guy was just taking random meds and yellowing it, and that's why he has very high blood pressure and collateral. Then we meet a child named Duante. He put beads up his nose, and he's just kinda crazy and energetic, and Landon has to try to get all the beads out. Lonnie has filled up his giant 7 tubes of alcohol or whatever that yellow shit is that's been filling up in these tubes. Disgusting. The Lonnie character, because now we've seen him over 2 seasons, Lonnie seems like a broke crackhead type of guy. I assume he's on Medicaid, which means he has no medical bills because, like, it is what it is. Because there's just no way, like, Lonnie seems old enough that he probably has Medicare, but he also seems broke enough that he has to be on Medicaid. He could be on both on that situation. Apparently, he has so much teeth pain from his drinking and all of it. Um, what else are we gonna go through? Oh, Kylie, which was the little girl we thought was being raped and abused by her father. We learn she wasn't raped or abused. She has some rare disease called ITP, and she's gonna have to stay in the hospital 4 hours. And the crazy guy from the end of episode 2 who came in the ambulance who was like a zombie raging maniac, apparently beat up the security officer that was in the library at Pitt University. And now that guy's just being annoying in the waiting room, which then brings us to the end of the episode, which this is the thing. We learned that the other hospital apparently is having a code black situation. Now, if you watched Grey's Anatomy, you know what that means. And we're gonna get into the Grey's Anatomy aspect of how like annoying things are, right? It means there's a massive security threat in the hospital. For those of you who don't know, in Grey's Anatomy, we had a code black when the both from the mass shooting thing where Derek got shot, but we're clearly not doing a mass shooting again because he just had a mass shooting last season. But we also had the thing with the when the guy who had the RPG in his stomach in Grey's Anatomy or the bomb, and they couldn't really operate on it because the RPG and they had to bring the bomb squad, and that's how um Kyle Chandler died. Yes, Kyle Chandler was like a cop on Grey's Anatomy. He died from the bazooka, getting it out, carrying it, and kaboom. So, I guess that's our threat, the Code Black. Or it could be, I don't know if the trailer showed this. I haven't like watched the pit trailers. We could be having, oh, that's right. This is right. This is based off what happened in real life. I totally forgot. That's my bad. It's obviously not the Grey's Anatomy situation. Cyber attack. I remember that this is when Twisters came out. The entire AWS cloud software was down, right? So, like, the planes couldn't take off and the hospitals couldn't, do anything. So they had to do everything by manual on pen, right? The entire things went down. I remember that. So that is what I'm assuming. I'm assuming that hospital was having a ransomware attack instead of doing the cloud service thing, which is great. Which comes to our comparison now with the other hospital shows that are airing. Um I've been trying to watch Chicago Med and Grey's, like, just, like, I don't really care what's happening in them. Like, I only watch the Chicago Fire because the main white girl in it is so fucking hot, the girl who plays Lily Novak, and she, like, loves, like, retweeting everyone who watches Chicago Fire. But so on Chicago Med, there's another hot white girl played by Sarah Ramos, who's like Caitlin Lennox. Her name is Dr. Lennox. She has some rare disease. I guess she has the disease that 13 did in House, and I guess she's gonna be dead in 10 or 15 years. She's fucking Ripley now, and Ripley is played by the guy who was named Lincoln in Agents of Shield, who is fucking Daisy slash Quake or whatever. And just watching Chicago Med and New Grays, right, Modern Grey, they're so bad at their job, and I'm like, "The Pit would never do this," right? Because The Pit every doctor or nurse is like, "Yo, The Pit is the most accurate show," and, like, people always got so angry at Grays and the Chicago shows, and I assume Scrubs is also gonna be a disaster when it comes back in a month, but I'm just like, New Grey's Anatomy is awful, and like, Meredith's not even in the show anymore, like, Amelia's gone. I want everyone to die on Grey's Anatomy. Like, when Grey's Anatomy began the season, it was like a hospital explosion. Again, that fucking hospital is cursed. And I was just like, "Can we kill everybody on this show?" Because like, Grey's is fucking awful. And I don't know how people watch it. I assume the people on Grey's and Chicago Med and Scrubs and whatever other hospital shows are currently airing are like, "Wow, we suck." Right? Because like, The Pit is just winning Emmy, Actor Award, Golden Globes because it's so good, and it'll probably win again a lot next year, though it is gonna go up against Euphoria, the 2 Game of Thrones shows, Lanterns, Paradise, and a lot of other shit. What else is coming out? I can't really remember. Oh, and yeah, what is it? The Beauty and the JFK show that's coming out later. Yeah. But yeah, there we go. That's what happened on the Pit Hour 3. Love it.